he obviously looked at my arm and said to me, we can make you about this size penis. I was like, whatever. I could have said to him, I want a 10-inch one, you know what I mean?
Could you talk us through how you came to lose your penis?
Okay, I was born in 1972 at the age of around about six and a half. A winter's day in January. We're throwing snowballs at each other, just mucking about, just kids being kids. And to this day, I've always said that all I remember is like, before we actually came to the main road, I got the last throw in before we were going to cross the road to get to the other side. From there, it was just a continuous straight road to the school. Somebody managed to push me into the road, and that was it. Car was coming from the left, got dragged under the cars of the wheels of the car and dragged like 400 yards along the road, and even the road was turning red because of the blood. That's all I really remember.
Could you describe to us what the main injuries you sustained had been?
Well, my penis was totally ripped off, and every man has two testicles, as you know. One of them was totally destroyed. The other one was managed to, with the impact, it got pushed up into my groin area.
So were the doctors actively trying to repair what happened to your body?
And I don't know exactly remember when they built a object that allowed me to pee out of when it was done, but in the space of about, I would say within the year, they managed to build me something which mimicked like a penis or a tube, which allowed me to go and have a pee, but when I say go and have a pee, I could only sit down and have a pee. I couldn't stand up. But generally, most of the time I was in bed anyway because obviously all the injuries I had.
How long were you in hospital for recovery?
In and out, I would say about 6 years. In and out of hospital, I only used to get home at the weekends. Doctors did everything they could to not save my penis, but because that was already gone anyway, but to save me, because as far as I'm led to believe, I was only given 12 hours to live. I'm not going to say that I used to look down and say that there's nothing there, because I can't even remember that, But I know that it was totally destroyed.
Do you think this affected you socially?
Affected me everywhere, because I never got any psychological, any help or anything, you know what I mean? I just had to deal with my issues myself. I couldn't shoulder to cry on. I couldn't speak to anybody, Lived in a community where everybody knew everybody, and obviously when they got to find out about me, what had happened to me, I just kept myself to myself and just basically, if anybody asked me any questions, just shied away or just quickly answered the question and just moved on. When I was about 37, 38, I must have went everywhere, all over the country. I never went to Europe, but I went all over the country. And somewhere along the line, I went to a hospital in Edinburgh, just outside Edinburgh. It was a plastic surgeon that I'd seen. He actually, when I was about 42, he sent me a letter through the post. He is now based in Edinburgh Royal Infirmary. He contacted me, he said to me, you came to see me many, many years ago, and I'd like you to come and see me again, because I think I can do something for you now. I was nervous. I was nervous, but I was also excited at the time as well. So it was November when I got my operation done.
What does it actually involve to create a bionic penis?
Okay, so basically, obviously, compared to what I had before and what I've got now, it involves a medical term which they call is a radial artery phalloplasty, which involves they take skin from your body, either your arm or your back of your leg, and then obviously they take that skin, they've got whatever size they decide, they roll it up like a Swiss roll and construct a penis out of it, and then they put it, basically an implant in it, which allows you to have sex. Implant allows you to have erections. Involves a reservoir in my stomach at the side here, which it's got saline in it, and it's got 2 rods at the front of my penis. That's all gets done, like in first part was just the penis, and then obviously second part the scrotum, and then obviously the glands. They put the rods in, and then obviously the reservoir puts in the same time.
Did you have options, like about size?
I left that to him. He obviously looked at my arm and said to me, "We can make you about this size penis." I was like, "Whatever." You know what I mean? Yeah, that's you leave that to him. I never. I mean, I could have said to him, "I want a 10-inch one." You know what I mean? But you just, you know what I mean? You're just grateful you're getting that opportunity. You know what I mean?
So was that NHS then?
Yeah, luckily it was because a special referral. I had to get it done from Scotland to Edinburgh. Sorry, Edinburgh to London. I had to get a special referral, and I managed to get one. Funding from the NHS, they paid for it all. £70,000 it cost. That's what the cost of that implant is.
When you saw it, how did you feel?
Yeah, I felt good because obviously, like I said, compared to what I had before and what I had, it's totally different. You know, yeah, I felt like a proper man. You know, that's how I was. The best thing I was looking forward to was going standing up and having a pee. They sent me home. They said to me that now just go home and give it 2 weeks, and then basically because you still have to wait until it kind of settles in. You know, sometimes they can get rejected as well. You know, these things happen. So 2 weeks, I was just like never. I knew it was there. I could feel it was there. I could feel my rods at the end of my penis. I can't feel this reservoir at the side of my stomach, but I can feel something in my scrotum, and I can feel my rods. But I just kind of I was just waited patiently for that day to try and give it a go, inflate and deflate, and eventually, that day did come, and it was good. It was good, yeah, because obviously I got it up, but I couldn't get it down again. Because I was getting I'd wound myself up so much, I managed to get it up, and eventually, initially it was easier to get up, but it was harder to get down because I was getting myself hot and flustered, and eventually I lay in my bed for about an hour or something, up, and thinking to myself, what am I going to do, It was like 11 o'clock at night. Eventually, so I just calmed myself down, and I started to Googled it and looked at a video, and eventually I just worked it out, Even though they showed me, but when when they show you, just your mind's thousands and thousands of miles away,
What did that do for your self-confidence?
Well, first of all, this should answer your question. I'm sitting here talking to you about it. Then I couldn't. I didn't want anybody to know, I just kept myself to myself. Just shied away from everything. Now, totally opposite. I don't go around looking for partners just now because I'm just not that way. I'm just not in that kind of zone or in that mood yet. But if I do potentially meet a partner, I will tell them. I'll tell them exactly what I've been through and what I was like before and what I'm like now and how it's changed my life from then to now.
I knew when PE or something was going to come up. I knew that, the girls were going to start, I wasn't allowed to get changed with them in their changing room or anything. Because even though, I say clitoris, I say that loosely. My clitoris is basically like a small dick.